Hi, Kris.
Hi, William.
How are you? Good evening.
Good evening, everybody.
Nice to be back in Bandung, yeah?
It is, yeah. It's become tradition at the beginning of every year.
So guys, what we'd like to do today, this evening, is to interview Kris himself. And most of the time, Kris is interviewing the runners at the races, the annual races. Since you're here in this nice, beautiful Highland city, I would like to sit down with Kris and conduct a few short interviews to ask him about some of these aspects of the Asia Trail Master. So for this first session, Kris, how was the Asia Trail Master 2018, the championship? How different was it for 2017? And before we move, that maybe just a recap. How old is Asia Trail Master?
How what, sorry?
How old is Asia Trail Master Championship?
Okay, yeah. Well, the whole concept started to develop in 2014 when I was penning things down, basically on paper, using my background in cycling, mostly, where I was myself competing in Germany. And back in those days, there was a German cycling cup, which was based on points. It was a series of about 16 to 19 races in a year, where you score points in every race, and at the end of the season you had a final, for the best riders, the best performance of that year. So in those years, 2014, trail running had started its boom in Asia as well. Started already in Hong Kong a bit earlier, China came, Philippines. And I wanted to do something with trail running because I found it quite appealing for myself. I started to run in a few races also. And this is how the whole Asia Trail Master concept came about in 2014. And then I started to approach some of the organizers in Asia. I still remember the first one was John Lakanlale from Clark Miami Falls. He was the first one to join Asia Trail Master. And quite quickly others followed, and we had enough races to begin in 2015 with a championship series. And since then the series has grown progressively. Every year has become bigger and bigger. 2018 in that sense was definitely the best and the biggest in the history of Asia Trail Master. And I think the future for 2019 is also positive, so the growth is continuing. There's more and more appeal for the runners, I can tell. So there's many good runners in Asia, also elite runners. And by elite I do mean professional runners, real professionals, who want to compete in Asia Trail Master now. Because the series has matured. I still remember in 2015 some of these, established runners in Hong Kong, for example. They were looking a little bit like, what is this all about, this Asia Trail Master, and Southeast Asia especially, are there any races and how good are they, is this, what is it all about? So, but now their opinion has changed because we have done good work, also thanks to you, of course, and Kirk Kenny, JP Alipio and others. We produce quality content for the events in our series.
Which you'll come back to that in one of the sessions. We talk about the...
exactly, we'll come back to that a bit later. So, but yeah, that is also by 2018. I mean, we started with the live broadcasting, for example, on the videos. Using my own background also as a reporter. I was a journalist before in Belgium, a long time ago in the meantime. So
a reporter and a DJ.
I was a DJ as well. I did many things, even a banker in Germany. But yeah, so everything is coming together nicely now, and I think for 2019 we will have an even better competition for the championship than last year, which was already quite tense. And yeah, I think Alessandro Sherpa and Ruth Teresia are great ambassadors for Asia Trail Master as well as the champions in 2018.
What were the challenges in 2018? I mean, in terms of the number of races that we had, it was a bit a challenge to cover those races.
It's
week
true.
on, week off, back to backs, and then so perhaps you may want to share with us what were those challenges to be able to, get
what you're saying is indeed correct. As you know, we also discussed it. So we had 36 points races in Asia Trail Master last year, plus a few candidate races. So all in all, we had over 40 races, which is a lot. So I already made a decision halfway through last year that in 2019 I would cut down on the number of races.
Races is an average. You have 3 races with 1 week off per month.
Correct. Yeah.
Right.
And there were parts in springtime and also in autumn. It was just one weekend after the other, race after race, which in a way is good because it keeps the whole Asia Trailmaster brand alive. People talk about it every weekend. There's news. There's runners, who perform great things. So it's always in the news. But for us, for the staff, for the workers, it's been challenging for sure. I just look at myself. I don't really look like an athlete anymore. So it's the reason why. So
we saw your 10-year challenge.
Yeah,
the photograph.
yeah, exactly. So indeed, so you can tell. So we are reducing to 30 races, approximately. Could be 31, but it could also be 29. We will see. There's still a few races under negotiation.
On that 30 races, Kris,
coming back also to the challenges maybe from last year, so what you mentioned. I also noticed last year that there was a growing discrepancy between events with ambition, I call it ambition, and events that were, let's say, not necessarily bad, I mean good, obviously, because they're an Asia Trail Master, but they were going a bit through the motions. And I don't really see a future growth path in some of the events. So a few of those have not been extended for 2019.
and what is the key idea of having an ATM championship in Asia?
The key idea has always been to give quality runners another objective here in Asia, because for many people the only objective is still UTMB, which is of course dominating the whole sport. But other than that, there is almost nothing for competitive runners to really aim for. Of course, there's many races they can do and they can try to win or score a good result. But there is nothing like a championship series. There's nothing that puts races together and gives people a goal to look forward to for a whole year, not just one event, but the whole year round. And I think that is the main reason why we have the championship, because I was a competitive athlete myself. I loved this kind of championship series in cycling in the past too. So I hoped in the beginning that runners would have the same kind of thinking, and that seems to be the case. So even I have Japanese runners who have been going to France every summer, every August, and now they tell me, actually there's many good races apparently in Asia as well. Maybe we should focus on Asia Trail Master. A new experience, new races, new countries, new cultures. And that is of course also a key aspect of Asia Trail Master, the community feeling, bringing people from all these countries together.
That's my own feeling as well, because Asia has such beautiful landscape. You look at the whole Indonesian archipelago itself, you can spend a whole year running all these places and then you don't see the whole thing.
Yeah.
And talking about this Asia Trail Master Championship, we do also have that Grandmastership. I think perhaps you can share something on the Grandmastership, because I believe right now we have more Grandmasters since the first, Alexis Capelli.
Yes, for sure.
So, what is your key idea behind establishing this Grandmastership?
The championship is for the competitive runners, obviously, but the bulk of the participants, the majority of the participants in any race, they are not that competitive. Yeah, it's a mass participation sport, trail running. So I also wanted to give all those runners something to aim for, and I think the Grandmaster Quest is again a very nice challenge for every individual runner. So 6 races of 70 kilometers or more in 2 years. It sounds not that difficult, but actually a lot of people have a DNF in those 2 years. We have noticed, so it is quite tough. But still, it's a reasonable challenge, something that people can achieve with effort. Yeah, because also 70k is not nothing for nobody.
My personal belief is that's a very sensible challenge, because to be able to achieve the Grand Mastership within that time frame you put forward, you need to be very systematic. You need to really know which are the races that you need to compete. You need to really manage your training and time, your recovery, so that you can achieve those necessary points and the number of races to gain that mastership.
Yeah.
So perhaps you can share further on the approach. I mean, because some runners, I think they week in week out, I mean, back to back 100 kilometers, and somehow along the way they break up. I mean, the whole system. So I think the key message is like they really need to sort of space it out within that 2
Correct.
years, I believe, right?
That counts for everybody, for the people who go for the Grandmaster Quest, also for the championship runners. Every year, come October, I'm being told by runners, Kris, I'm so tired. I really need a rest. I mean, and I still need to do 1 race or 2 races to have a chance of finishing in the top 10 of the championship, or to fulfill my Grandmaster Quest. But it's like you say, it's strategy, and also a bit of prioritizing your events in a year, because of course people run also other events outside of Asia Trailmaster. We had a good discussion with Pablo Diao Gonzalez before New Year about this. It was about the championship then. Why many, let's say, expat runners here in Asia do so well in the championship. And it's exactly that, about planning your year, planning in advance, and aiming the race, aiming your training for those races that you plan. And also not overdo it, because as we said, many runners are burned out come the end of the year.
So continuing with the Grand Mastership, can you share with us who are the Grandmasters, who are the 1-star, 2-stars? Of course, Alex Capilli is the first, and now he's a 2-star.
He is 2-star. He was the first Grandmaster, now he's 2-star. And
this first female Grandmaster was,
first female was Ina Budiyar.
Yes.
In the meantime, we have 1 3-star Grandmaster.
And who's that?
It's Ruth Theresia.
Whoa.
Last year she did, I wouldn't call it Grand Slam, but I mean, she became champion. She equaled the record of Tahira Naminasa in total number of race wins, so 10 ATM race wins in her career, so to speak. And she became a 3-star Grandmaster as the first runner ever in Asia Trailmaster. Alexis Capilli, Lily Soriani, Isaac Yuan-Wanaho, they are 2-stars. I think those 3. Maybe I'm forgetting somebody. Apologies for that. But there's quite a few now who have reached the first level. So the 1-star, that's the 6 races.
So for those tuning in, what happens in the beginning of the year is Kris basically audits through the system to look at the Grandmastership. So for those who requalified, perhaps your name is not up there. Rest assured, you'll be up there. It's just that at the beginning of the year, we are just so busy with races, with media, and setting up races. So don't worry.
Absolutely, and it's only 6 weeks ago since Izu Trail Journey, the last race of 2018 season. We've all need a bit of time off. We all had holiday, and now it's getting back up to speed. And but everybody, of course, the Hall of Fame is already being updated. So, but there's still 3 or 4 people missing.
I really like the new website because it's really active content. Now, session 1 is still talking about 2018. I think what I would like to continue to ask Kris before we move to 2019 and what we can expect in 2019 is in 2018 Kris made a polling session or something like that, and it was quite remarkable because it's very effective, because instead of we from Asia Trailmaster nominating races, but we have really good feedbacks coming in from Asia Trailers themselves. So Kris, number 1, can you share with us your idea behind that? Number 2, can you perhaps off the cuff mention what were the key things in the questions, and who won what, who's who, and then which race was nominated as one of the best race. Perhaps in 2019, instead of just one race, we have something that we can say, oh, this is first place, a gold sort of standard race, a silver standard race, or a bronze standard race. So let's start off with the idea behind that poll.
The idea behind the poll was a sudden ingiving, so to speak. So suddenly, it was already after Ezo Trail. I think it was just before Christmas period, and suddenly something came into my mind. Why don't I do a poll? Because I like to get feedback also from organizers, from runners especially. And then I very quickly, one evening, I thought of a couple of questions, the logical ones. What is the best runner? What is the best event? The best apparel, you know, the best trail shoe. And then I started to add a few more questions, a little bit less serious, perhaps also a little bit funny, like the trail mate of the year, the best trail section of the year. And then of course also one commentary box for all the participants in the poll to give feedback. So what do you think about the Asia Trailmaster? Yeah? Please tell me, because we can adjust, you know. And what came out of the poll, we know we had a summary on the website. You can still read it. It's in the news section. Ruth Teresia was voted as the runner of the year, so she got more votes than Alessandro Sherpa.
I think for those listening in, I think perhaps you can share some inside knowledge, because out of that discussion, we were sort of saying that Playmate of the Year.
Yeah.
No offense, but it's basically trail runners who are quite cool.
Yes.
So Ruth Teresia won Trailmate of the Year for the ladies section, female section.
Yeah, ahead of Aggie Sabanal. So it was actually the same as in the championship. Shindy Patricia came third in that section.
And for the guys?
For the guys, it was to me kind of surprising, perhaps. I mean, Tomohiro Mitsukoshi, the Japanese runner. He was voted as Trail Mate of the Year. Of course, he's cool. Yeah, absolutely, and he's a very nice character as well. And bear in mind, you know, he's flying for every race from Tokyo. So also today
he's
here
very
in
committed,
Bandung,
isn't he?
He's extremely committed, and we had an interview with him as well today after the race, and he said, yeah, for sure, he will also aim to have again 12 ATM races this year. So he really loves it. But also Tomohiro is again an example of what Asia Trailmaster, I think, has achieved, if I may say so. Before Asia Trailmaster, many Japanese runners had no clue there were so many races in all these countries in Asia. And Tomohiro discovered the Asia Trailmaster website, and his eyes went wide open. He said, wow. And he decided to go to a few of them. I think Malaysia was first, Sunameyala last year, where he appeared for the first time, and he obviously enjoyed it, and he's been coming back ever since.
He's indeed a trailblazer.
Yeah.
Who won second in the poll?
For the men, I need to think. Could be Sherpa. Could be it was Sherpa.
Yeah. So third. So let's not go to third, because then you can look through. So for those tuning in, you can go through this information on our webpage.
Yeah, it's in the news.
And for the trail event of the year,
that was Cordillera Mountain Ultra. Not a big surprise for me, because I knew it was already tremendously popular. The surprising aspect there, maybe a bit, is that it's a 50k race. It's not an ultra,
exactly,
strictly speaking. But this shows again that these medium distance races can be very good and very popular and very well respected also.
So back to our
because
discussion.
Also Akiathlon, Filipinas Akiathlon was voted second. So, and it's also 48k race, also medium distance.
Back to our discussion before, we said that trail running isn't necessarily has to be a really long race, and a long race doesn't necessarily has to be a trail race. Right?
Correct. Yeah.
So I like short 50ks, fast and sweet.
They're definitely more exciting to follow also.
Yeah.
It's much more dense, much more intense for everybody, for the runners, for us. It's spectacular.
And race director of the year?
Race director of the year was JP Alipio, who won ahead of Hero Prabhu. That's the race director of Mantra Summit Challenge. Perhaps a little bit surprising, but it shows also that people appreciate the work of certain individuals, race directors. Even if, for example, somebody like Hiro, if I may say so, he's sticking a little bit more to the background. I mean, you don't hear him so often in the circuits, but his work for Mantra Summits is excellent.
I can see that these two race directors, they are very engaging. They engage the participants, committed to producing up-to-date information. It's not like those races whereby you signed up that you don't hear anything from race directors, but these two races have been following. I mean, I myself, I don't say that I'm biased towards CMU, but I know the sort of work that JP puts in daily just to communicate with the runners, because I think the race directors, they have to really engage the runners. I mean, they really need to talk and to be able to explain the concepts of the races. I mean, if they have multi-categories. So JP, you're tuning in, good work. And also to the mantra. And what about the third? Was there a position for the third?
Yes, but again, I would need to think more carefully. Short memory these days.
So those tuning in again, hit back to the website, and then you can look at the information. And what else from the poll? We had this the shoes. Is it what was the one of the
shoes? Hoka won the shoes. Salomon was voted as best apparel. Nutrition was Overstim together with Tailwind, was a tie. Then interestingly, the most favorite trail section, this was also a tie. This was the Nishina Pass Viso Trail and the Pineapple Ridge and Borneo TMBT Ultra. So
that's a nice one.
Classic. And what else from the commentary box? We got some interesting ideas or suggestions, comments. For example, that many runners also argue that please have a bit more shorter races in Asia Trail Master, because they feel it's a little bit out of balance, too many ultras. So yeah, take note of that. As we just discussed, shorter races are also, in my view, more spectacular. They're easier to mediatize, which is in the end important to get sponsors. And another element was to reduce the number of races, which we are doing. So like I said, we're going down to 30. And fewer races in one country. There were also a few people who mentioned that. So because in the past we had 5 races in a few countries, so now the maximum is 4, with one exception, will be the championship final.
So have you really worked out the races per country that you'll be keeping?
Yeah, the calendar is more or less already fixed. There's a few more events that will be added, because the, let's say, negotiation is not yet fully complete. But the calendar is out there. It was announced before New Year. So
in that sense, it's a privilege to be actually included in the ATM 2019 championship.
We hope so. Because I think Asia Trail Master has grown, and maybe still sometimes a bit underestimated by brands, especially given the exposure we give to brands, give to runners. The content that we produce is quality, and on top of that, nobody else is doing it. Asia-wide, nobody else is doing it. So I think definitely, I mean, there's a lot of growth potential still in Asia Trail Master, and I'm pretty sure that we will fulfill it also, even with fewer races.
So the races are fixed, the super trails are fixed.
Yeah.
So which means anybody who wants to would like to get into the championship, they would have to be placed in the candidacy or the candidate category.
If you want to compete for the championship, it's very simple. You need to get 5 good results, because it's the 5 best results that count at the end of the year. So if you do like Tomohiro, you run 12 races, yeah, good, because then you have more chances to eliminate your bad results, but only his 5 best results count also. So, and if those 5 are wins, yeah, then it's perfect, of course. Yeah. If by contrast you only decide to run 5 races, and one of those 5 races is a DNF, or for whatever reason a poor result, then your championship chances already shrink considerably. But still, I mean, nobody wins them all except Proef Teresia last year. With Alessandro Sharpe, he won essentially 2 races plus a tie with Salvarambla in Laos. So it shows how competitive it has become and how difficult it has become to win an Asia Trail Master race. So 5 good results is essential because that's what most runners do anyway already.
Okay. We go close session 1. So Kris, 2018.
Yep.
Take your time.
Thank you.
And he's holding a pint.
Exactly. Let's
5
have a-
words. What can you describe 2018? How do you describe 2018 in 5 words?
Okay. The first one, growth, competitive, challenging, beautiful, and rewarding. Let's have these 5.
So Kris, thank you so much for this session, and we see you again in the next session.
We will.
Thank you so much. Yeah.